Do or do not, there is no try. Coach Mahr here with the premiere episode of Coach's Corner, a series of short videos where I'll share some of my insight nuggets. And I'm starting with probably my all-time favorite. If you grew up in this house and you said the word try, you knew you were going to hear from Dad from whatever room he was in, do or do not, there is no try. This comes from Yoda, Empire Strikes Back, the second Star Wars movie that was produced and released. I think it's the fifth one in the chronological order of these things these days. But it's very, very impactful. And to me, if you try to do something, you're successful, well, then you've done it. If you try to do something and you're unsuccessful, well, then you didn't do it. So let's either do it or not do it. When we put try out there at the beginning is sort of the way we're approaching it, we're admitting that it may or may not happen. And I'm okay in either case. It's a kind of a cop-out. And I think we do that because the do not piece seems to be have a stigma with it. It's a failure. And that's not the case. If we don't do something, if we're not successful at it, okay, let's address it. That might give us more time to do things that we can do. If we're okay with trying, then we're okay in that same place, possibly never delivering results. And I've got two situations in my life where this came into play. The first, I was a sales guy, first territory, mid-20s. Was part of a sales team. We met every Monday morning, pre-Zoom, pre-cell phone. And we had a team meeting. We talked about what we did the week before, what we were going to do that week. And there was a guy a little bit older than me, had been with the sales force a little bit longer. And he was, week after week, kept saying what he was trying to do. Well, I'm trying to get an appointment. I'm trying to understand who owns the budget for this project. I'm trying to see if we can do a demo. Finally, the sales manager just snapped and said, I don't pay you to try. I pay you to deliver results, i.e. do. And then as I was a football coach, I had high school kids. I was coaching defensive backs and special teams, and I had kids saying, Coach, I'm trying to cover that wide receiver. I'm trying to make that tackle. Well, at the end of the day, I've got to play the kids that do make that tackle, that do cover that wide receiver. Trying's not going to get it done. And in both of those situations, with the sales job, so if you're not successful, well, let's get some more sales training. Maybe get a mentor. Maybe you should be in operations or marketing and sales just isn't cut out for you. In a situation of the defensive back not being able to tackle, well, maybe play wide receiver where you don't have to tackle. Maybe football isn't your cup of tea and you ought to look at the band or debate team or something else. But we've got to identify what we can't do so we can move on to do other things. And to me, that try is it's just a soft approach to things. And I had an experience growing up after a particularly rough high school football game where my dad phrased it a little bit different, but it was, did you do your best tonight? And I looked at him and I said, yes, Dad, I did. And he said, well, then your best better get better because it wasn't good enough. It was kind of along the lines of the try. It was a very cold slap of reality, but it identified where progress, where improvement had to be in order to be successful and do things. So going forward, let's do or do not. Let's try to take the word try out of our vocabulary. As always, rejoice and Godspeed. It's Coach Mahr signing off.